Out of all the series I was introduced in the 7th generation, Infamous was the one that stood out to me the most and caught me off guard by how much I enjoyed it. I think the reason why is because I'm not really a comic or graphic novel type of person, which this game has a huge vibe coming from it. Not to say that I don't like the idea of comics or graphic novels, just I never got into them. But the minute I saw the cover for this game, I just had a feeling on it. And this was back when I still didn't really use the internet for gaming news, so I didn't have any prior knowledge about Infamous. All I had to go off of was chromographic and the lightning bolts that were coming out of them. Safe to say it did the trick and I ended up buying it, and thought it was pretty cool at first. Not mind-blowing, but good enough for me to feel good about my purchase. So I played it and got to the second portion and was loving it. And then I didn't touch it again for a few months. Don't ask me why, but I have a pretty bad habit of doing this for new games I buy, unless it's like Resident Evil or Sonic where I'm a fanatic and glued to the damn series. But after those few months, I went back to it and ended up platinuming the game, which meant 2 playthroughs. And honestly, it became one of my favorite games of the 7th generation. The idea of playing a superhero game with no pre-established background or franchise like DC or Marvel was pretty refreshing for me. I enjoyed Cole's story as he struggled in Empire City to protect his loved ones, and being able to play around this world free from most normal hazards, shooting the shit out of people with lightning, oh, it felt so good. Plus, including the ability to upgrade Cole with experience points and blast shards, RPG elements in indie game are great when they're done right, and Infamous did it perfectly for this type of game. But of course, any game, even if it's good, will have its flaws, and Infamous definitely has some. One of them was that the world did feel kind of empty. Now, I'm not one of those people who demands that each sandbox-style game has to have a million things in it, and to be fair, at least the stuff it does have does add to the experience. But I do feel there could have been more than just side missions, blast shards, and dead drops. And speaking of blast shards, these might have been one of the best collectibles you could ever have in a game since it powers up Cole's lightning deposits as well as give experience, but trying to get every single one for that trophy, oh, it could go suck a dick, cause not being allowed to see them beyond your minimap made it so much harder than it needed to be. Lastly, I'm probably not the only one who fell for this trap, but the game doesn't give you enough experience points to unlock all the skills and upgrades, so there is a bit of a grind. And the grind isn't really the problem. It's the fact that your main method of grinding is kicking enemies' asses. Again, not a problem. Until you start doing the side missions, which makes you clean up turf so enemies don't appear there anymore. So you could be running around for hours before you find a couple goons if you cleaned up Empire City 100%. And god, it's a bad trap to fall into. Please don't if you play this game. But other than that, it's honestly not hard to see why there's been 2 sequels and 2 downloadable stories. Infamous provided a bit of a fresh take on action shooters, and it's a series I know I'll come back to regularly. Check it out if you haven't yet.